Dear brothers and sisters, it gives me great joy to be here in Singapore and have an opportunity to talk about meditation, spirituality, and the real purpose for which we've all come into this world. It gives me great joy to see so many of you here from different parts of the world. And as we all gather here in Singapore, it's with joy in our hearts so that we can all be together and focus on what is truly, truly important in life. And as a human being, we all are trying to do our very best to improve in all kinds of arenas. Depending on who we are, what we feel, what the purpose of life we feel is, we take great strides in excelling in that direction. And many times as we look into the world, we feel that to be prosperous, to be healthy, to be able to have good relationships is the key to being happy. And what is very interesting is that as life goes on, we realize that our bank balance does not make any difference on how we feel. Our intelligence, which we maybe developed over the years, through the knowledge that we've all gained through this world, is not really making us that peaceful and calm. Our relationships, which we nurture very lovingly over the years, we find as we all grow up, brothers and sisters living together in family move apart, especially when they have their own kids. Some misunderstandings happen in life, in all families, in all parts of the world. And pretty soon the relationship that we spent tremendous time on building up have all of a sudden crumbled. And so we start to look at life and feel, what is it that gives us happiness? Because the balances in the bank could be great. We might have invested well in the stock market or in real estate. We live in kind of the financial capital of the world here in Singapore. And so the finances must be way up there, for most people here. And when we look at other aspects of our life, we find that life is not as calm and peaceful and happy and joyous as we would like it to be. And it is then that we start to look at ways and means by which we can improve our life, ways and means by which we can be joyous, ways and means by which we feel we are fulfilling the purpose for which we all are in this world. And it's when one gets to that state that one starts to look at aspects other than what we look to develop ourselves in this life. As a child, as we grow up, we all are taught about this world on the outside. As a child, depending on the family that we're born in, we're taught the languages so we can communicate. So a child can let the parents know, the parents can let the child know how to lead their lives. As we develop more, we learn the customs of our environment, what kind of food to eat, how to talk to someone, how do we relate to our environment, and then we send our kids to school. And in the schools, we're all taught the languages of the areas in which we live, our cultures, the history of our countries, and the geographical knowledge about our state compared to everything else in the world. And so as one develops the knowledge in this world, we find it's all knowledge of the world outside. And that's what we think is affecting our IQ. Most people want their IQ to be high. So if your IQ is really high, you're going to be doing well in this world. And so we're gaining knowledge. Whether in the old times it used to be through the Encyclopedia Britannicas, or today it's through Google or maybe the chat GPTs and all of the new technologies that you have today. It's knowledge that we are developing. And as we gain that knowledge, we feel, okay, now I know a lot about things, I can lead my life in the best possible manners. Everything that we learn is based on what we know before. As an example, a child goes to first grade, and in the first grade they learn some of the basic alphabets and making little words and maybe sentences, and then they go to the next grade and learn paragraphs, and then they start to write big essays. And so on first grade basis is the second grade and the third grade and fourth grade. So it's a logical build-up of knowledge that we find in our lives. And as this happens, we think that to know God, to be happy, to be joyous, would also be logical. And so we use those techniques to find joy and happiness and peace and fulfillment in this world. But as we try to use those examples, we find that the more we focus our attention in the world in which we live, the more stress and strain and tension we have. Look at the life of our forefathers. Our forefathers lived basically on the farms. Technology was not as rampant as it is today. Maybe 400-500 years ago, we didn't even have electricity. And you get up when the sun is up, you go to bed when it's dark. He had those all wicks and lamps that you lit up if you needed to do something. And all of your activities would happen that day. And most of your activities would be to till the ground. So you'd go, you'd work on the farm, and you maybe meet 4, 5, 6 people in the whole day. There was no communications with other people, so that's the interactions you have. Today, we live in an age, you could be sitting in Singapore, and you know everything of what happened in New York, what happened in Delhi, what happened in Sydney, and all of a sudden, all of that information needs to be deciphered by this one brain. Okay? So the more information you have to decipher, the more stresses and strains in life. And once we are not calm is when all trouble starts. When this turmoil on the inside is going to come out of us. And so meditative practices have been talked about to still ourselves, to find the calmness within, to be able to connect with the source of all joy and happiness and peace, which is not on the outside, but which is within each and every one of us. As we start to look at ourselves, and as we start to look at this world that we live in, we realize that things are not haphazard, that there is some relationship between the Creator who created all creation and us. And so as we find that relationship, happiness starts to be a part of our day-to-day existence. Unfortunately, since our attention is all in the world outside, it is difficult for us to find that core of joy and happiness and peace within. And as we go into the meditative practices, meditation is nothing more than taking our attention away from the world outside and focusing it within ourselves. And the realization that the treasures of joy, the treasures of peace, the treasures of harmony are all within ourselves. And as we start to connect with those treasures within, the true purpose of our existence starts to set in. Spirituality is not haphazard. There is a science behind spirituality. Spirituality is unfolding of our real self. Spirituality is recognizing who we truly are. Spirituality is finding oneness with the Creator, which each and every one of us can find. And when we look at history, we find that saints and mystics have come, and all traditions at all times, in all different walks of life, to talk about the oneness that one can achieve. And as Sant Singh Ji Maharaj would often say, he would say, what one man can do, so can another. And when he talked about man, he talked about humanity. He talked about men as well as women. Because what one human being can do, so can another. The Creator has given us all the faculties that we require to know ourselves. It's a question of us being able to use those faculties. And as we use those faculties, then we are able to get into the source of happiness, of joy, of oneness. And as we connect with the oneness within, which we can do through practices which are called meditative practices, might be called sitting in silence, praying with attention, inversion, going within. These are mechanisms by which we connect with the source of all happiness, all joy. And so as we gather together for the next few days, it is with that purpose of being able to experience the joy within. It is with that purpose of being able to find that calmness within, which is talked about in each and every one of our faiths. Our traditions talk about the spiritual journey, the journey of the soul, of being able to reach regions of more peace and more peace and more quietness and more quietness. When we think about our real selves, our brain waves are working at about 20 hertz. 20 hertz is 20 cycles per second. And that's what a general, when we do our day-to-day activities, that's how our brains are working. Now, when we learn the meditative techniques, we can bring those wave downs to about 4 to 8 hertz, so that there's a calming effect in our being. And as we learn those techniques to be able to calm not only the physical body, but also the mind, then we will be able to get to those states where we are calm, where we're peaceful, where we are able to enjoy the happiness and joy which is within ourselves. Many people talk about the Creator, the divine power that brought all creation into being as being truth. And this is why when we are children and as we're growing up, our parents are all teaching us to be truthful. Also, one of the characteristics that talked about the divine power is consciousness. We're told to be conscious of things, be conscious of our real self, be able to do things which make sense to us. The thing that is not talked about too much is another aspect of the divine power, which is called Anand, or which is like a state of bliss. We've come into this world not to suffer, which is what most people think, because most people think, oh, this is not working with me, and especially as we age, the knees are not working very well, our digestive system is out of whack, our relationships, which are very good, have kind of broken up, and as we pass through life, the difficulties have come to overcome us. So we think, oh, it's only karma that we're passing through life. But God has given us this opportunity to be able to enjoy ourselves, to be in a state of bliss, to be in a state of happiness. And that state will come not when we focus in the world outside, but when we focus within. And so as we learn the techniques of going within, we'll find that life would be lived in a manner in which it should be lived. And that is why we are in this world. Unfortunately, we are a part of the divine power which is separated from the divine power. But we don't recognize that we are connected. And so as we meditate, as we go within, as we find that powerhouse within ourselves and connect with it, then there's happiness in our life, there's joy in our life. Just like if you have any electrical equipment, and if they're not connected to the powerhouse, nothing happens. But as soon as it's connected to the powerhouse, it starts to do all kinds of things for you, whether it be a TV or anything else that you need some power to run. So similarly, as we go within and as we connect with the divine power within, the connection with that divine power is such that it brings tremendous power into our own self, which is our soul, which is our spirit. And as our spirit is nourished, the more we connect with the divine power, the more nourishment we get. And the more nourishment we get, the better off we are. And so, even though we live in an age of instant coffee and instant everything and messaging, gone are the times when you wrote letters to, go to the post office to get to someone and then get responses within a week or 2 or 3. Now you need things to happen instantaneously. Spirituality takes a little time. So I want to leave you with a little story. This is about a father who bought some property. And so as a father, he wanted to train his son to learn to do things. So he told his son, okay, I have this property, so I want you to put grass around this property. So he bought a house. Your job is to put the grass there. So the young son did not know about gardening. So he thought, okay, let me hire a gardener. So he hired a gardener, and the gardener came in and he put seed in the ground, he fertilized it well, and he told the son, okay, you need to water this every day. Now the son started to water the ground every day. A week passed by, 2 weeks passed by, and the father came to the son and said, hey, how are you doing? And the son said, yeah, the gardener put the seed and I'm watering it. And the father looks around and said, hey, nothing's grown. So okay, he said, okay, I'll come back a couple more weeks. So he came back after a couple more weeks. And he said, son, what are you doing? There's no, grass is not coming out. Maybe you got a bad gardener. Maybe you should fire the gardener. He doesn't know what he's doing. And the son said, oh, the gardener said I should water it. So let's give it some more time. So a few more weeks go by. And now father's getting very irate. He's saying, what are you doing? You're spending all the money because you got a bill from the gardener. And when you have to pay, then you get more irate. So he's had to pay the bill. And so he's telling, son, I don't think this gardener is helping you. You should just get someone else to do something. Nothing's happening. But the son had enough faith. And so he's watering. He talks to the gardener. And the gardener said, no, you're fertilizing right. You should water at this time. I want you to water this place. And so every day with the hose, he's going and watering. And lo and behold, one day he gets up in the morning, sees a few seeds have fructified. And some green grass is coming out. And another couple of weeks, he sees some clumps of grass here, some clumps of grass here. And pretty soon, another few weeks, the whole outside of the house has grass on it. Similarly, when we think about meditation, we're all very educated, especially all of you in Singapore are all financial experts, right? With the financial capital of the world, you have to be very astute in your thinking and your thoughts. And technologically, I'm hearing this is a tremendous country to be in. And so one thinks, okay, things should happen very quickly and it'll happen like this. But meditation also is a process of growth. As you meditate, you need to give it time. And as you give regular time to your meditations, you will find that the seed of meditation which has been sowed in you, as you learn the meditative techniques, is going to fructify. And as it fructifies, there'll be happiness and there'll be joy. So I want to leave you with a little meditation. Let's have a little meditation for a few minutes. This is a very simple technique. We call it SOS meditation. SOS stands for Science of Spirituality. Because spirituality has science behind it. And so this is a simple technique which anyone can try. Meditation to us is not done just for fine-tuning our intellect. It's not done to get benefits to the physical body. It's not done to make a relationship better. True meditation is done to gain spiritual health. True meditation is done to be able to experience ourselves as we really are. And so this meditation deals with the spiritual aspect of our being. So we can be in any position. We're sitting on the chair, we can sit on the floor, we can sit on the sofa, whatever's convenient to us. And no physical pose is required. It's not that you need to be in certain yogic pose, another pose. You can sit in any manner. The purpose is that you are ready to meditate. And if you're not feeling well, you can even meditate lying down. We don't recommend it because generally if you're lying down, it's conducive to falling asleep. So most people do meditate sitting. And as you sit, as many of us sitting here in this hall can meditate together, we just want to make sure that no part of your body is touching the person next to you. Because if that happens, then if one person moves, the other is distracted. We all have a direct connection with God. We all have a one-to-one connection with God. And so as we sit together, we close our eyes. When we close our eyes, we want to make sure that our eyeballs are straight. We all have what is called the single or the third eye or the Divya Chakshu or the Dasmadwar, which is here, between and behind the two eyebrows. Okay. That is the gateway which opens into the inner spiritual regions. So we want to collect what are called our sensory currents. We are right now living at the level of our five senses. A sense of sight, a sense of hearing, a sense of smell, a sense of taste, and a sense of touch. And it's through these senses that our attention, which is the outer expression of our soul, is going out into the world. So what is needed is that we want to bring those sensory currents back into our system. And so as we find a quiet place to meditate, a sense of hearing is withdrawn. When we're sitting and no one's touching us, a sense of touch is withdrawn. We're definitely not going to eat as we meditate, so a sense of taste is withdrawn. There's no need to change the atmosphere. We feel the Creator created all creation. Every place is holy. So there's no need to light incenses or make it more spiritual. So a sense of smell is withdrawn, and by closing our eyes, we withdraw a sense of sight. Now when we close our eyes, many people feel that the seat of the soul is here. They try to raise their eyeballs. What we need to understand is that what we experience within is not with these eyeballs. It's with us, with our inner eye. It's with a single eye, it's with a third eye. And so if we raise them, what happens is it puts pressure on your forehead, which will generally culminate in a headache. So please make sure that the eyeballs are straight, as if you focus 8-10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, each and every one of us has a difficulty that comes to us because of our mind. As soon as you close your eyes, you'll be bombarded by thoughts. Thoughts about the past, what did you do yesterday, thoughts about the future, thoughts about your business, thoughts about your family. It could be thoughts about anything. And as soon as you get a thought, your attention goes into the thought. And when your attention goes into the thought, then you're distracted, you can't meditate. So the saints and mystics have done tremendous research in the spiritual arena. They all have used techniques which are very similar. I have an opportunity to travel all around the globe, and I have a chance to meet with many monks in many monasteries and many other spiritual people and people who are on the meditative paths. There are different meditative paths. And what is very interesting is the commonality of each one of them. The commonality is that the mind needs to be stilled. And so, to still the mind, the saints have said that the power of the mind needs to be used. Now, it's the mind which is sending thoughts to us, so we want to experience the divine. So we focus the mind on the divine power. And so, as we close our eyes, we repeat a name of the Creator. And the Creator can be called by any name. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj said very beautifully, he says, "Hazar naam hai, har naam se pukaro se." He says, we as human beings have given thousands of names to the Creator. Some call them God, some call them Jehovah, some is calling them Vaheguru, some is calling them Ishwar, some is calling them by any other name. So many people repeat a name of the Creator. We can also repeat names which are peaceful to us, which are loving to us, which are calming to us. And let's say repeat a loving name or a calming name. What that does, it takes the power of your mind and it focuses it into a calming atmosphere. And as we do that, and as we close our eyes and we're using the mind to repeat this name, then the power of the mind is being focused on the divine, and the mind does not have power to send thoughts to us. Now, this is not going to happen on day one. Okay, it takes a while to get there. But as we learn the technique and as we start to repeat the names of the Creator that we are used to, or we use a calming name or a peaceful name, we will find that we will get to a state where the thoughts are going to get less and less and less. And right in front of us, as the thoughts are getting less, we start to experience light. It will in the beginning look like flashes of light, circles of lights. What we could be experience is lights of various colors, lights that are coming and going, and the lights could be like golden or white or red, blue, green, yellow, or any other color. And then with time, what happens? The lights stabilize. Now, what is actually happening is the light is not coming from the outside. The light of the Creator is within each and every one of you, because all of our scriptures talk about true primal manifestation of the divine, that being the divine light of God and the divine sound of God. And this is why when you go to your places of worship, you see those symbols. You see the symbol of a candle being lit, you see a bell being rung. These are signs of light and sound, which we're supposed to experience on the inside. And so, as we concentrate, we see the light. As we're distracted, we experience darkness. So, with time and practice, as the concentration is getting better and better and better, we're going to experience the light more and more and more. To us, it looks like the lights are stabilized, and there are many, many other vistas we experience. A sky full of stars, and a moon and a sun, and many, many other vistas. So the key is to focus in the middle of your experience, and as you experience the lights within, you'll find happiness and peace and unity and bliss and harmony with the divine. And you realize that this life is given to us to be lived in a happy manner, in a joyous manner, to be in a state of bliss, and to be getting closer and closer to the divine power which brought all of us here. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyebrows should be straight, focused 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who've been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do a Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of the divine or a name which is calming and peaceful to you. And just do it mentally. I pray to the Almighty to help each and every one of us here. In my prayer to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Purush Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within ourselves and to experience the divine light in its effulgence. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state at that time, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.